Starting out on roll call. It's a sub 24-hour overnight ride from rockgeist.com. Starts out of the hub here in Brevard, North Carolina, and 42 miles, 3,800 feet of climb, I think. So I'm Pisgah National Forest. Looking forward to it. Let's get going. Just made it onto gravel. Leaving from the hub's great. You can park your car there overnight. They have food trucks that rotate out, so you can grab some food. They have beer, so you can load up before your ride, after your ride, and then they got a bunch of bike and camping stuff. So great launching off point. Then there's only like a mile and a half on pavement to reach the gravel. So good start to the route. Excited about it. Making new friends over here. This goes by the stables. We got a bunch of horses. They're really pretty, so take advantage. Got some horses before keep going down. Alright. I gotta stop by the stables, see the horses. Been climbing ever since and be climbing for quite a while more. Start off with a big one today, so it should be a lot of fun. Real long, prolonged climb up to the top of this mountain. And that's Pisgah, baby. Anytime you're out here, you're gonna have lots of climbs. And I think today the road's mostly gonna be like this kind of wider gravel. And tomorrow should get into a little bit of single track. And today will be a little bit longer than tomorrow, and I'll have a little bit more climbing. So if I can choose, that's always the way I like to do it. A little harder day one, kind of coast back into town on day two, and then get a hot meal. It's the best thing to do after a long ride, is that hot meal. So I'll be looking forward to that. See what food truck they got tomorrow at the hub. And if not, hit downtown Brevard. They got a lot of great restaurants there. Now, back to climbing. About 8 miles into the ride, still climbing. Been climbing the whole time. Got a lot steeper once we hit the stables, but getting close to getting to the top of this one. So looking forward to some hydration, getting a little bar in me before we enjoy the descent. Little over 8 miles in, done 1,500 feet of climbing. Done with the big one, just reached the top. So now we're going to fuel up before we before we finally have some descent in this ride. Climbed 1,500 feet, but only descended 100 feet so far. So it should be a good time up ahead, that's for sure. Said I was going to skip the water, but passed another one. Couldn't keep resisting, so this looks perfect place to cool off for a little bit. It's been a great little spot to stop and cool off. The water's real cool, so it's perfect. After all those climbs earlier, man, couldn't get much better than cooling off in something like this. So spend a little more time here, hanging out, getting refreshed, and then keep it moving. I think we got about 10 more miles before we get into camp. So this would be a great place to stop and camp. It's got a little area up there to do that, but I want to make it further into the ride. So that's what we'll do. Can't believe I almost passed up getting in that water back there. That would have been a huge mistake. That was perfect. And on a short ride like this, you always got plenty of time to stop. So, I don't know what I was thinking. Passing. I guess I passed the first one up so I could have that perfect stop at the second one. Off that rough single track, back on gravel road, and back to climbing. Much better climbing on this though than that rocky single track. That'd be really difficult. Hard enough as it is. About 13 miles in. Really enjoying the route. Anytime you come out to Pisgah, you know it's going to be a good time. Some tough climbs, but it always has some moving water nearby. A bunch of waterfalls. Several great campsites, a lot of which are near water, so I'm looking forward to finding a good one tonight. But yeah, if you're in the area and come out and bike Pisgah, you should do it. It's always been a good time when I get out here. Good forest views, a lot of different wildlife, and really a great biking community. A lot of mountain bikers, gravel bikes. You can find a route for just about anything you're looking for. Being that bikepacking.com, it's founded out of Brevard. There's lots of good bikepacking routes around here too. So yeah, enjoying it. Got a little road section here. Nice, smooth. A Rumpy Pumpy always enjoys a smooth little section after some of that rocky terrain we were going through. I don't know if you can see it behind me, but that's the Looking Glass Mountain, so that's why a lot of people do this ride in the fall. It's pretty tough to see right now through all the foliage, but let me get out of the way. It's definitely a great ride, but we'll be coming back in the fall just to get some of those views. This route, 42 miles, you can really do any time. So the advantages of doing it right now, late summer, the temperatures are perfect. You can get in the water that you see to cool off. Water's not freezing cold, but in the fall, definitely got some more views. Being in the forest, there's so much foliage that you can't really get a good view of the mountains around you. So that's one advantage of doing it in the fall, and that's why some of these rides are fun to do different seasons, so you can see what those changes are, and it makes the ride different. So we'll be looking forward to that. This section is so many roots. You gotta be careful. Definitely a lot for any rigid bike, but the cutthroat's gonna do as good as any on it, that's for sure. So we're making our way. Kind of glad I'm doing this tonight and not first thing tomorrow morning. So, as long as I can find a campsite, which I'm sure I will, it'll all be worth it getting this done. Definitely want to get to a campsite soon though. I think this is going to be home for the night. Not too bad. Glad we got out of the way of that, all that rutted out section. Got some water here to hose off in. Fire pit where they're ripping darts. Nice. This will do just fine. So able to clean off in the river. Now make some sandwiches. Have a wobbly pop. Lying down for the night. It's a pretty good little spot. This is awesome. This is my first time packing the chair. I know a lot of people like don't bother with the ounces. If you're willing to pedal it, bring whatever the heck you want. And for me, when you get into camp, you have somewhere more comfortable to sit. Worth it. Especially on a trip like this. There's a lot of climbing, but it's not an insane amount. So packing the chair, not a huge burden, but a huge blessing once you get into camp. And on a trip like this, it's so short. I'm in camp as much as I am riding, so camp should be enjoyable. Everyone's got their own motto. There's no right, there's no wrong. You do you. I think if you're willing to pedal it and not willing to complain about it, bring it. And that goes for whatever you want, whatever your luxury items are. That's a 6-pack of brew. It's a little flask. Whoever makes your experience enjoyable, do that. I was really glad for the bumpy sections because I have the Ortlieb Quick Rack and I just got the Rockgeist microwave panniers. And the last ride I did was pretty much all road, very smooth. And these things are awesome. I wanted to see how I'd do on some really rough terrain. Because that was the only thing that scared me about the Quick Rack from Ortlieb, but it had an awesome 5-year warranty, so they stand behind their product. It made me feel good about it, so I pulled the trigger on it and held up great. These microwave panniers are so awesome. My favorite thing about it, when I was looking at panniers, so many aren't waterproof, surprisingly. And these remind me, my favorite seat rack is the Terrapin seat rack from Revlate, because the Terrapin hooks to the seat and then the dry bag can just go in and out. I found that the dry bags that are completely attached to the seat, you're going back and forth between the tent
in the bag, tent and bag, and they're not all of them are 100% waterproof. So I really like that about the Terrapin seat rack or seat bag. But for my cutthroat, it's got a dropper post, and I really want to use, I use that all the time. So the seat rack wasn't going to work, so I got the Ortlieb rack, and then these panniers, and these panniers remind me so much of that Terrapin rack, because it's a holster with dry bags, so 100% waterproof, because they're dry bags, and I can just load them up, take them over to the tent, and I'm not walking back and forth, and then I just throw them back in the holster and go. They're not sticking way far out. They're pretty small, compact, but still fit everything I need to fit. So these things have been awesome, and yeah, now I've tested on rough terrain and held up great, just like I expected it would. Rock Ice is awesome company, and I'm doing their route. This is their route. So go to their website, see what kind of gear they got, and then check out their routes as well. They got some good ones. Just about packed up and ready to go out on day 2. Good little morning. So much cooler up here in the mountains. Makes for a really nice night. It's a good campsite. Only downside is a little sandy, so just about all your stuff gets some sand in it, but it's perfect. Finish fueling up, and clean some stuff off, and hit the road. And we're off on day 2. I think we have about 20 miles to get into Brevard. Finish this route up. Campsite's not too far away from the route, so just gotta take a little detour to get back on path. See what today's got in store for us. Kicked us back out on the road. Nice. Started today's set of climbing. I think we have 1,500 feet to climb today. Most of it I think is early, and it should be a little smoother once we get into Brevard. So, good way to do it. Get it done early. It's cool outside, so I'm not sweating like a little pig. Had about 1,000 feet climb already for the day. Means we got most of it out of the way early, so it should be pretty easy and smooth sailing into Brevard.
Looks like we just got a little bit more climb left on this one. Be able to get out of granny gear. Just got done descending Bracken Preserve. Found this little picnic table, so I'm gonna stop, eat a bar. Man, there were a lot of roots, a lot of rocks, a lot of switchbacks. That was a pretty hard descent. Dumped the bike a couple times before I just decided to hike it down the rest of the way, which was the smart play. I cracked my phone on one of those, so let's see. But good little descent. I don't think we got too much further to get into Brevard, so getting close to wrapping up day 2. Good ride.
Turn slide left onto West Brevard Street, then turn left.
They have this great bike path. I think it'll take us pretty much all the way through town and almost all the way out to the hub, so that's a treat after that
Turn right onto
big
Michigan
rocky
Road, then
descent
turn left.
to have this smooth paved trail to end it. I like that. This greenway is really awesome. Smooth, shaded. It allows you to park in downtown Brevard and get all the way out to Pisgah without being on roads. So, used it several times, always enjoyed it. Getting close to wrapping up the ride.
Route complete.
Back at the hub. Time to stash the bike and get some food.
This is how you end a ride. Great food truck. Ice cold water. I think today's ride was 18 miles. Man, a lot of roots, a lot of rocks. It was really tough descent, but it was a lot of fun. The only downside was the not being fall yet. There wasn't a lot visually it wasn't my favorite. The forest is beautiful, but that's pretty much the only view you have for the whole ride. It's just that forest. Even though you're in the mountains, you can't really see any mountains. I might change a little in the fall, so come back and do it then. But great ride, really enjoyable. That's really the only knock, is that a little rocky in sections, a little tough ride, and then visually doesn't mix up those views. But it is great, a lot of fun, good camping spots. One of the best launching off and stopping points here at the hub. Can't ask for much more out of the route. Do it again.